Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your morning devotion. Today, I want to talk to you about the sine wave of life. Now, what on earth does that mean, the sine wave of life? Well, what a sine wave is it's simply, in mathematics, the easiest way to describe it is it's a line that goes up and it goes down. It goes above zero and then it goes below zero. And it's just a repeating pattern, above zero and below zero. And we see the sine wave in many kind of applications of life. One such example could be the stock market, for instance. We see that, for example, within a day, a stock can trade above its initial value, and it can also begin to trade below its initial value. And if we look over if we look at, a short period amount of time, whether that be the day or 5 days or 10 days, we can see that stocks go up and down in their value. And we see that over the length of time, generally there's less extreme kind of sine wave motions above and below. And generally, of course, if you're invested in a stock, is you want to see that up and down slowly rise and increase in value. So how does this apply to life? Well, reading through the Bible, it kind of caught my attention of how many times do failures come immediately following a success? So, for example, if we would plot kind of the spiritual ups and downs of the nation of Israel, we can start with a down. We start with them being in bondage in Egypt. That's a below zero spiritual point. Then God brings Moses. Okay, we're heading up. God raises up Moses. And then we have, the deliverance from Egypt out of slavery. We've gone from a below 0 point to a above 0 point, right? We went from slavery and God brings them out of slavery. So we go way, way up. And then we have, Moses is there receiving the commandments, but the rest of the people are down partying and making a golden calf. Ooh, that's a below zero moment, right? So we have slavery, below zero, bringing out of Egypt, above zero, creating the golden calf and idol worship, below zero, renewing the covenant, above zero, and life is going up and down and up and down. And it's incredible how many times after incredible successes, almost immediately come incredible failures. So Deuteronomy 8 is quite an interesting chapter because it is a warning that is being given out. It's a warning to the nation of Israel. And it's saying, in a more short form version, it's saying, hey, your prayers are about to be answered. You are about to be brought into the promised land that God promised to your forefathers, and things are about to get really, really good for you. And it says, Deuteronomy 8, verse 11, it says, beware that you do not forget the Lord your God by not keeping his commandments, his judgments, and his statutes, which I command you today. Lest when you have eaten and are full and have built beautiful houses and dwell in them, and when your flocks and your herds multiply, and it goes on, talking about all the things that are going to be, good that are happening, and saying, don't forget God and have things go downhill again. Because God brought you out of the wilderness, he brought you out of Egypt, he brought you out of slavery. So when you've come from below zero on the sine wave and you're about to go way above zero, make sure, it's saying, Deuteronomy 8, saying, make sure that we try and keep it up here. Make sure that we don't go and forget God and go to a spiritual negative point. And time passes. Joshua gets raised up as the next leader. They conquer the promised land. Okay, we are fulfilling the promises of God. Life is up here. And then after Joshua, we get into the time and the book of Judges. And the book of Judges is an incredible high-low point because whenever a judge isn't reigning, it says that the people just do whatever is right in their sight, which is, it's never good. It's never good. The people fall into spiritual apostasy. So it's never good when the people do what is right in their own sight, and we are living at a low because they're not living for God and they are living in idolatry. And then God raises up a judge, and as the judge brings them deliverance, whether from their spiritual negative state or from an enemy that is oppressing them because of their sin, as God raises up a judge and the judge frees them from the negative experience that they are in because of their own actions, they serve God and they listen to the judge and everything is good. And then the judge dies and it's right back below zero. And then God raises up another judge and it brings them out of the negative experience that they're in. And then the judge dies and then it's right back below. So there's just this constant up and down and up and down. And what I was thinking about this is we know that life is going to happen. There are certain experiences, events, life happens, and what I mean by that is there's things that are going to affect you. There's time and chance. It happens to us all. Negative things are going to happen in our life. But when it comes to the things that we can control and the things that we have, power to impact, let's try and lessen the amount that our life is going to dip below. Let's heed the commandments of Deuteronomy chapter 8 and say, hey, God is, doing something incredible in my life and things are going really well. God is answering my prayer. He's healed me. I got a promotion at work. Things are going well. I'm happy. Okay, we're up here on the sine wave of life. Let's live our lives with a consciousness that life happens and some unpredictable negative things are going to happen, right? Maybe we get a raise at work or God heals our body. Okay, we're up. And then life happens and we're stopped at a red light and somebody runs into the back of our vehicle. Okay, low point. But let's not make our sine wave of life low points because of our own faults and failures and failure to adhere to the Word of God and continue positive spiritual practices, right? We have, for example, a really powerful time at the altar. Okay, spiritual high point, sine wave high point. But then, by Wednesday, we haven't prayed, read our Bible, or come to church one time. We're missing out on all our spiritual practices. Okay, spiritual low point, right? But we're at that spiritual low point because of our own doing. So life has its highs and lows, and it goes up and down and up and down. But let's try and negate the amount that we're responsible for how low life can get back down. And let's watch out that whenever things are going well, let's adhere to the experience of people's lives that we read about in the Bible, and let's adhere to the words of Moses spoken to us in Deuteronomy chapter 8 and realize that we're at a spiritual high point. Let's protect that place that we've been brought into. Because for Israel, they've been brought out of slavery. They're going to receive the promised land. And we're at a spiritual high where blessings are being poured out and God is moving in their lives. Let's protect that because they have been brought out of slavery. They're being brought into the promise where they're going to be made a kingdom of priests. We have this incredible experience where, as I talked about previously, God brought them out of Egypt to bring them and make them into a nation of kingdom and a kingdom of priests so that they could dwell in his presence. God does incredible things in life and we dwell in his presence. Let's try and protect those things as much as we can and be aware that, life is going to happen and we're going to experience falls, but let's try and protect our fall. Let's try and protect, those negative points in life and say, I'm still going to serve God. I'm still going to build up those positive practices. I'm going to continue to practice those positive practices, spiritual disciplines in my life so that even when life does go a little bit down, because I can't control everything, I'm going to keep continuing to practice those positive spiritual disciplines in my life, prayer, Bible reading, going to church, responding at the altar call. I'm going to continue to do all of those things, realizing that in the long term, whenever I do practice those positive disciplines, my life will be on an upwards trajectory, rather than just life going up and down and up and down, and all of those up and downs negating each other and just life being a straight line. Let's, over the years, continue to practice positive things, continue to practice those positive spiritual disciplines so that our, career life spiritual graph can be on the up. Yes, there's sine waves of up and down, but let's continually not grow weary in well-doing and continue to bring our path upwards. I hope this was explained well to you today, and I hope this gives you some food for thought that I want to protect those positive moments in my life when I'm in a positive season with God. I want to do everything I can to stay in that. And yes, I realize that life is going to happen and there are going to be things that, stress me out and bring me down, but I'm going to continue to practice positive spiritual disciplines so that I can get my life back on track and back up into the right direction. All right, that's it for today. God bless you. Take care.